Leadership and inspirational skills, the core of every sustainable success. In a world where technology evolves every single day, it is people who increasingly become the defining factor that makes all the difference. Amid countless individuals striving to rise, only a small group possess the rare ability to build a team, and those are the inspirational leaders. Leadership is not merely about giving orders. Leadership is not simply about holding authority. True leadership is the ability to inspire voluntary trust and unite others toward a common purpose. A great leader doesn't just manage, they ignite belief, awaken motivation, and illuminate the path forward. They are the torch in the darkness, the steady hand guiding through the storm. And to do all of that, they need one invaluable skill: the ability to lead with inspiration. Leadership is not power, it is the responsibility to inspire trust. Are you truly a leader, or are you simply sitting in a position that forces others to obey? In many organizations, stagnation doesn't come from lack of talent. It comes from the leader's inability to build trust. A team that doesn't trust its leader, no matter how skilled its members are, will only work to get things done, not to grow, not to commit, and certainly not to give their best. Why? Because they simply don't see anyone worth following. Leadership is not about being served. It's about being a pillar, a source of inspiration, someone who lives in a way that naturally earns respect. A true leader doesn't need to raise their voice. They simply live with integrity, keep their promises, and take responsibility when things go wrong. That's enough for people to follow, not out of fear, but out of genuine belief. Take a moment to reflect. When mistakes happen, do you hide them or step up and take the blame? When success arrives, do you claim all the credit or share it with the team? When someone struggles, do you criticize or take time to guide them forward? If you can't own your faults, can't sacrifice for your people, and can't show compassion to those beneath you, then know this: you're not truly a leader. You're just occupying a chair. Leadership isn't defined by your title. It's defined by your sense of responsibility, not by your rank, but by your character, not by your authority to command, but by your ability to inspire and set an example. If you are in a leadership role today, ask yourself, am I someone others feel proud to walk beside, or just someone they fear to confront? Because in the end, people don't leave jobs, they leave leaders. And a leader can either lift the team or break it from within. If these words speak to something deep inside you, if you're ready to lead, not by fear, but by dignity, then please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications. This world doesn't need more bosses. It needs more true leaders who lead with purpose and heart. Inspirational leadership begins with empathy, not command. Have you ever paused, looked into the eyes of a struggling colleague, and quietly wondered, are they truly okay? Have you ever stepped out of the daily grind to ask a simple yet sincere question? How have you been lately? Not to check progress, but to truly listen. An inspiring leader is not necessarily the smartest or most skilled person in the room. They are the one who places their heart on the same level as others, the one who understands that people are not tools, they are emotional beings, carrying their own burdens, hopes, vulnerabilities, and an innate desire to feel valued. Many believe that leadership is about strength, decisiveness, and giving firm directions. But what a true leader must first learn is not how to speak loudly, but rather how to notice the small things: the sighs during a meeting, the lowered eyes after criticism, or the slumped shoulders of someone who has just failed. That is where empathy begins. And it is in that moment that you can choose to become a truly inspirational leader. Sometimes, a listening gaze is more powerful than 1,000 words of encouragement. Some people only need to be heard to stand back up. Some only need to feel they're not alone to keep going. An inspirational leader understands that motivation doesn't come from saying you have to do this, but from saying, I understand, and I'm here with you. Empathy doesn't weaken leadership. On the contrary, it becomes the strongest source of support, because those who follow you aren't just workers. They are human beings. And they will never forget the leader who sat beside them and listened when the world turned away. No one gives their best to someone who doesn't understand them. Performance doesn't come from pressure. It grows out of emotional connection and trust. You can order someone to complete a task, But for them to pour their heart into it, they need to know that you care about them, about their growth, and that you truly want the best for them. An inspiring leader never dismisses others' feelings. They don't brush off concerns with phrases like toughen up or everyone gets tired. Instead, they take time to understand what's happening inside that person and offer support, not just demands. Inspirational leadership is not about grand speeches. It's about staying when others walk away. Every team has moments when even the most talented people feel exhausted. There are times when the once enthusiastic newcomer becomes silent and withdrawn. And there are times when an entire group loses its sense of direction. In those moments, you can choose to get angry, tighten control, threaten, or pressure. But you can also choose to sit down and gently ask, what are we going through? How can I help? Inspiring leaders don't leave people behind. They are the ones who stay when others give up. They see potential behind silence, see motivation hidden beneath sadness, and believe that everyone deserves a chance to rise again. Inspiration is a quiet force, but deeply powerful. You can't force anyone to feel inspired, but you can create an environment where inspiration naturally grows, a space where people feel heard, respected, and free to express ideas without fear, a place where failure isn't judged but seen as a chance to learn. Inspiration doesn't come from flashy speeches. It comes from your calm and consistent presence, from how you lead by example, act with fairness, and know when to praise or gently encourage. An inspirational leader is someone whose presence alone makes others feel more secure. Lead with your heart, because those who follow you live with theirs. In work, people talk about KPIs, deadlines, and productivity, but the deepest motivation always stems from emotion, and that can only be nurtured by a leader who loves and values people. You don't have to be perfect, but if you are genuinely concerned about each individual, even if you lack experience, they will still choose to walk beside you. If you are willing to bend down to lift someone when they fall, then one day when you stumble, they will be the ones to lift you. Because inspiration is not something you teach. It's something you transmit through the way you live. If you want to inspire others, first, learn to light your own flame. There's a deeper truth that many people overlook when talking about leadership. You cannot inspire others if you're running on empty, emotionally drained, lost, and disconnected within. Just like a candle cannot light another if its own flame has gone out, a leader cannot motivate others if there is no inner light to share. To lead others, you must first learn to lead yourself. And to inspire others, you must be someone who knows how to reignite the spark within your own life. People aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to those who are authentic, courageous, and walk through their own storms with calmness and integrity. True inspiration doesn't come from shiny appearances. It comes from sincere living. In the age of social media, many people try to present themselves as ideal leaders through motivational posts, polished quotes, and flawless images. But in reality, inspiration isn't about what you show on the outside. It's about how you live when no one is watching, how you overcome personal darkness without abandoning your values. An inspiring leader doesn't have to be cheerful all the time. They can be sad, disappointed, even fall down, but they don't let these moments rob them of their faith in people or their sense of responsibility toward the team. They are the living embodiment of the truth. I'm not perfect, but I keep trying. Close quote. And it's this quiet, unwavering persistence that makes them trustworthy and deeply inspiring. A leader isn't someone who always has the answer, but someone willing to search for it together. One of the greatest burdens for people in leadership is believing they must know it all, always be right, and always appear strong. But the truth is, no one can uphold that image forever. And trying to do so only makes you distant from your team, exhausted with yourself, and slowly disconnected from authenticity. An inspirational leader is someone who can honestly say, I don't have the answer yet, and still earn respect. They don't try to build a flawless image. They build trust through sincerity. And the most precious gift they offer others is the belief that we can figure this out together. Ask yourself, what's fueling your inner fire each day? A leader is a bearer of light, but that light doesn't appear on its own. It comes from the things you feed your inner world with every day, how you learn, how you reflect, how you process failure, and how you realign with your deeper self. Without a steady source of inner nourishment, you will eventually burn out. And when you're exhausted, what you radiate becomes heavy, forced, and transactional. To truly inspire others, you must live with meaning, clear values, and the capacity to renew yourself in silence. An inspirational leader is someone who reads to expand their mind, meditates to keep peace within, journals to connect with their soul, and finds gratitude in small things to nourish their spirit. They don't rush. They move slowly but steadily. They don't shout to be heard. They live deeply. And their way of life becomes a quiet but lasting source of inspiration. Don't try to become someone else's model. Live as your truest self. The deepest kind of inspiration doesn't come from trying to be someone you're not. It comes from the courage to be yourself, with all the kindness, humility, honesty, and responsibility that lives within you. Inspirational leaders are the ones who can say, "I've made mistakes, but I've learned. I've been weak, but I never gave up. I've felt lost, but I found my way back to what matters." When you live this way, those around you won't just listen to you, they'll feel restored by you, energized by your presence. You won't have to push others to change. The way you live will naturally move them. An inspirational leader creates a space where others can shine. A great leader doesn't aim to be the brightest star in the room. They don't strive to be admired above all. Instead, they dedicate themselves to creating an environment where others can thrive, be seen, and grow beyond their own limits. An inspiring leader understands that leadership isn't about being the center. It's about being a catalyst. You don't need to speak the most or stand in the spotlight. What matters is that you ignite energy, provide direction, and build a solid foundation where others can discover their own potential. When you truly inspire others, there is no need to push them. Your positive energy, genuine trust, and the way you treat people will naturally make them want to give their best. The environment shapes the mindset. The mindset determines the outcome. Many people believe that to help others perform better, all you need to do is assign tasks clearly, supervise closely, and offer rewards at the right time. But in reality, the results someone achieves depend deeply on their mindset, and that mindset is directly shaped by the environment they work in. A person working in an environment of fear, where every mistake is harshly criticized, where new ideas are shut down, where success only comes to those who please the boss, will struggle to grow fully. On the other hand, a space where fairness is upheld, creativity is encouraged, and mistakes are seen as learning opportunities will help individuals express their full potential. An inspirational leader creates that environment, not with slogans, but with consistent behavior, with genuine trust, and with a compassionate attitude when things don't go as planned. A great leader doesn't seek to be right, they make room for others to shine. A defining trait of inspiring leaders is this: they're not afraid of others being more talented than they are. In fact, they want that. They don't hoard information to feel powerful. They share. They're not threatened when a subordinate stands out. They celebrate it. They don't cling to decision-making power to affirm their role. They delegate and empower. Because they understand that a leader is not someone who does everything themselves, but someone who finds the right people, places them in the right roles, and trusts them to shine. Timely praise and support are the quiet forces of inspiration. In every person's growth journey, there are moments of doubt, discouragement, and weariness. And sometimes, all it takes is one sincere compliment, one approving nod, or one timely word of encouragement from a leader to help someone recover their confidence and move forward. An inspirational leader doesn't overlook these moments. They pay attention, listen beyond words, and know exactly when someone needs emotional strength to keep going. They don't only praise outcomes, they acknowledge effort, attitude, and growth, even when the results are still in progress. They see the goodness in someone, often before that person can see it in themselves. Inspiration doesn't come from personal excellence. It comes from making others believe they can do great things too. A truly inspirational leader doesn't make others feel small. They help others believe they too are capable of something extraordinary. Not by showing off what they've done, but by asking, "What do you think?" and saying, "I believe you can do this." They don't create distance. They build connection through honesty, the willingness to share their experiences, and respectful listening. An inspiring leader is like a gardener. They don't strive to be the most beautiful flower. They tend to every plant so that the whole garden blooms together. An inspirational leader doesn't control others. They awaken leadership within them. A great leader doesn't aim to control everything, to micromanage every detail, or to make people constantly rely on them. Their deeper mission is to help those around them stand tall, make wise decisions, and inspire themselves and others. They don't want followers for life. They want to shape individuals who can walk on their own with confidence, even when the leader is no longer present. That is the ultimate destination of leadership, not to be obeyed, but to empower and instill belief. A true leader doesn't create followers, they create more leaders. Many people in positions of power feel more secure when others depend on them, but an inspiring leader doesn't foster dependence, they cultivate growth. They're willing to share knowledge, experience, and even opportunities. They're not afraid when others grow quickly, even surpassing them, because they understand. When you are the spark, you don't need the destination, close quote. An inspiring leader helps others recognize their own value, gives them the confidence to make decisions, take responsibility, and grow in their own unique way. Passion leadership is a transformational journey, and inspiration is its strongest catalyst. No one is born ready to lead, and no one becomes a true source of inspiration through theory alone. Every skill, every quality is forged through practice, challenges, and constant refinement. But there is one thing that can't be taught through books: a genuine love for people. That love is what helps you stay patient, listen more deeply, let go more easily, and walk the extra mile beside someone, even when you're tired. The inspiration you carry within, no matter how small, may be the very thing that keeps someone from giving up. And when you realize that every kind action, every sincere word, and every bit of trust you place in someone can transform a life, you'll no longer see leadership as a burden, but rather a beautiful journey of human connection. Live as a source of inspiration, even without a leadership title. You don't need a high-ranking title or formal authority to become an inspirational leader. All you need is the courage to stay true to your values, to be kind to others, honest in your words, and steady in your purpose. And then, your presence alone becomes an invitation for others to live more deeply, act more kindly, and believe more strongly. A better world isn't built by extraordinary individuals, but by ordinary people living with extraordinary heart. If you are on the path of becoming a leader who listens, who understands, who brings out the best in others, then hold on to that vision. You are doing something truly meaningful. And if these reflections resonate with something inside you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can continue building a new generation of leaders, where trust, compassion, and inspiration are at the very core.